everyone, it's Evangeline right here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at this pretty cool setup which involves the Pioneer platform, which is 60 inches by 54 inches, the quick mount legs, and the ditch brackets. So we're going to take a look at all of those right here on our 2011 Ford F-450. So you have a Ford F-450, you've got a big truck, and you're ready for some big adventures. So the reason this is on the roof of our Ford F-450 is because here's the situation. We've got a person who's traveling across the country. He is hauling a fifth wheel in his truck bed, so he lost that truck bed space for all of that extra cargo. He also has some people camping out with him, going on adventures with him, so now he has to clear up some space inside the cab. So now, where does he put all of his stuff? On the roof. So that's what the Pioneer platform is for. It creates this big open space which has all that versatility for those different types of cargo, whether you want to carry a kayak or luggage or lumber, it's really up to you. That's what the platform is for. So let's take some vehicle specific measurements. We have the 60 inch by 54 inch wide platform, and notice right where it stops. So you can see how our roof clearance is going to be about 2.5 inches from the top of our roof ridges to the bottom of the platform. Also, it stops right before the end of the cab, which is helpful if you have a ladder rack, because then you aren't hitting the platform. Or if you are carrying around a fifth wheel, you want to make sure you don't have any overhang that could possibly catch on. This doesn't. Here in the front, you've noticed how it does cover your sunroof. So it ends right before the end of the sunroof. If you look inside, you'll definitely be able to see that there is a platform rack above you. The good thing though is look at where our lights are in front of it. So we positioned it where it doesn't go past the end of the cab and it doesn't go in front of your lights, so that way everyone can still see them. So the cargo capacity of the platform rack depends on the vehicle, and you have specific recommendations from Rhino Rack when it comes to different vehicles. So the vehicle load limit for this is going to be about 220 pounds, but remember, you still have to decrease the actual system weight, and then that's going to be your cargo capacity. And if you're taking this off-road, that decreases even more. So keep that in mind when you're loading this up. So before installing your brackets, you first need to make sure that you have all of the right tools. So this is everything that I used. What's actually included in your kit is going to be your 5mm rivets, your butyl tape, your bracket that goes on top, and then this skirt for if you're going to be using a weather strip, or if you have a weather stripping on top of your truck. In our case though, since we don't, we're just going to set this aside since it is optional. Now the tools that I brought to the table in order of being used is going to be your measuring tape. Please make sure you use the same measuring tape for this entire process. Once you've measured it out, double check those spots, go ahead and mark them. I use this as well to mark for where I'm going to put the drill. And then speaking of drill, I use a 5mm drill bit. Remember, 5mm, not 3/16. This is very important, especially once you have those holes drilled out. You're going to be using a rivet gun. Make sure you have the correct tips to match your rivets. Once everything's installed, this is going to be an extra sealant, just an extra precaution, especially since we don't have weather stripping on our truck. So once you've determined or checked that you have all the tools you need for this job, let's get started. The most important part here is to make sure your measurements are correct. So Rhino Rack actually has a fit guide for specific vehicles, so go ahead, look for that and use that so you can figure out where you need to mark your spots. So you're going to have 3 holes that will match up the bracket, and then go ahead and once you've double checked your measurements and made sure they're not wrong, you're going to go ahead and mark those holes with a pen. So I just mark it over the bracket, that way I know it's all lined up, and I use painter's tape here just as an extra precaution. Next, to make sure that my drill doesn't skip, I'm just going to make a little hole punch here right where I marked it. There we go. We'll do that a couple times. Now that we have our holes punched, we're then going to make a pilot hole. And of course, please be careful when you do this. You don't want to go through your headliner. Fortunately, the truck we're working on has pretty good clearance, so I'm not that worried about it. Just be careful. After you make your pilot hole, you may have to build towards the 5mm drill bit, so go ahead and switch those out if needed. Keep double checking with your brackets to make sure that all your holes line up, and I'll get back to you once you've finished all 12. So that our clear coat is dry, and we're going to go on to the next step, which is to set up the butyl tape. These are squares with holes already in them, so that's nice. You're just going to put them over your holes and try to get them centered. Then place your bracket over those holes and push them down onto the tape just to get them secured, and then drop your rivet into the hole. So if you did this right, it should fit right through. The final step is to get your rivet gun, and there you go. Since we don't have that weather stripping, we put that sealant on there just to make sure everything is covered, and this is when you would install the rest of your towers. So that's it for the install process of your ditch brackets. Depending on the heights of your brackets and depending on your vehicle, it may be a little bit different, but just make sure you have the correct tools and you should be good to go. Once you have your ditch brackets installed, in other cases sometimes you use a little track system, you just need anything that can connect to your mount. So we're going to use a split washer, a flat washer, and then we're going to have our little bolt and drop that through. Now tighten those down with the special included tool from your Rhino Rack system. So then you're going to set up the towers and have them on your tray or your crossbars if that's what you're doing. In our case, since we have a tray, we have some pieces here. So I have the bolt, and then I have a split washer, and then I have a flat washer right over there. Those are going to fit through the bottom of your tower, have that sticking up, and then put the T-slot on top and just very loosely thread it on there. This tower is going to fit into the opening in the center of your cross beams and then just slide it through. Do that for all 4 towers. So now to put the platform onto the roof, I have some help here. So they're going to lift the platform up, and then we have some people to align the towers. So here we have the platform with the towers already on them. Just gently place them onto the roof as we get those brackets into place. My side's good?
My side's good. I'm good. Good.
All right, there we go. Once your towers are lined up with your brackets, just pull those red levers and that secures it. And then use the included tool, or in my case, I'm using a ratchet version, and that's just gonna tighten down that bolt. You can also access it from the front of the tower. You're going to measure the overhang on each side and make sure that you have the equal amount of length. That's how you know that your platform is centered over your towers. You're going to get 4 of these covers. Those fit right into the tower. So just pop that in, and then to secure it, turn this over to locked, and do that for all 4. Once you've double checked that everything is secure, if you were using sealant, of course you would have to wait for that to dry. You've locked up all of your towers, then that's it for the install process. You can now load it up with all the cargo you want for your adventures. So my personal thoughts about our Pioneer platform on our Ford F-450 is I like how it is a perfect fit on top of our roof. The struggle though was installing it into the gutters, especially since the version we have does not have the weather stripping. So that's definitely something to keep in mind and plan ahead for. Now, this does add a good amount of space when it comes to cargo, but not that much more than a crossbar system would. So if your focus is weight distribution, if you're carrying items that require a lot of extra space, the Pioneer platform would probably be a good option for you. If you're just carrying, let's say, a roof box or a roof basket or just a kayak, then maybe crossbar systems would be easier for you to install and are not as permanent. Hopefully this video helped you out with that decision-making process though. That way you can get the best fit for you, your adventures, and your Ford F-450. And that was a look right here at our Pioneer platform rack, which is 60 inches by 54 inches wide with our quick mount legs and our ditch mounted brackets right here on our 2011 Ford F-450. My name is Evangeline and I hope you enjoyed the journey.